If you're a coach and you're looking to up-level your results, your earnings, and everything about your business, then you must have a signature system. If you're ready to create yours, let's dive into this video because that's what we're going to do together. First, I want to share a few things about what a signature system is, what it can do for you. Then we're going to dive into actually how to do one. And I'm going to do an example up here on the whiteboard, and I'm hoping that you can follow along from home creating your signature system while I do it here. So my intention is that in the next 15 minutes, you walk away with your signature system done. Let's go. First off, I want to help you understand the value and the importance of having a signature system. In my experience for my own business and also with many, many dozens of clients, a signature system helps you codify your process, organize how you get the results that you get so that you can replicate those results and achieve them more reliably. That's the first thing. It also helps you from that perspective to make a bigger impact, but it also helps you with your brand. Your signature system becomes a cornerstone of your credibility. Think about the difference between, say, a business coach, a plain old everyday, I'm a business coach, versus I'm the creator of the Retreats to Riches system, right? It defines what you do, it narrows the focus, it makes it sound sexier. I know people who've put their name on their signature system. So you could just call it the blank blank your name method. I have one friend actually that I helped many, many years ago in one of my workshops, and she realized at the end of the workshop, all she had to do was call what she had created the Alva method, and boom, a signature system was born. So signature system is the methodology by which you uniquely deliver results. Now, I say you uniquely because the key to having a signature system is that you invented it. It's yours. You didn't borrow it or steal it from anybody else. Now, of course, I know that all of us learn from every one of our mentors and teachers, and you really need to pay attention to make sure that what you're developing is proprietary, it's yours, and that you're not stepping on anybody else's toes. Another really great reason to have a signature system is to prepare for your long-term growth. When you have a signature system, it means that other people can learn what you've done and they can apply the process with their own clients, which means you can create a certification program, you can license your system. There are lots of ways that you can generate revenues from your signature system without you having to implement it in person with clients. So here are some examples of businesses like that. I love to use the example of Gino Wickman. He's the author of the book Traction. And in that book, Traction, which is all about how to create more efficient and effective processes in your business, he developed the Entrepreneur Operating System, which is what Traction is. It's an entrepreneur operating system comprised of a bunch of different elements, which I'm not going to get into, like vision and how to run meetings and all sorts of good stuff like that. He put them together into the signature system, and now he certifies consultants, he trains operations executives, he runs courses online, they do all sorts of different things. They even have software that they sell to people for the implementation of the system. So that's an example of one signature system taken all the way forward into the biggest trajectory. And it can help you right now. Even if you're early days as a coach, it helps you to create more reliability in your results so that you can see a client and know exactly where you're going to start with them and where you're going to take them. Now, before I go into the first step of creating your signature system, let's pause for a moment. I'm going to ask you to please hit that like button, subscribe to my channel. That helps me grow, it helps me get more views, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so step one of creating your signature system is to identify what is the transformation and who is it for. We want to look at what is the from A to B that we're taking people on. Let's pretend, I don't know what type of coach you are, but let's pretend, for example, you're a wellness and health coach, right? So maybe you want to take people from having diabetes to managing their diabetes with less drugs or with no drugs at all. I don't know if you're allowed to do that in this medical climate these days, but let's pretend you can. Or let's say that you're a financial coach and you want to take people from being deeply in debt all the way to having prosperity, right? So whatever this transformational arc is, I like to kind of put it right here, like from what to what. So like in my world, this would be from one-on-one coaching and gigs to big back end, monthly recurring revenue, prosperity, and superstar, right? Everything that I do is superstar brand. Right, so this is the transformation that we're taking people on. And now we're going to look at, this is where, if you follow along at home, like fill in your information here. The transformation is here, and it's for, my people are influencers. And specifically, they're people who want to have they're influencers who want to have coaching businesses. So they're speakers who want to coach, they're authors who want to coach, they're people who have thought leadership and they want to have some sort of thriving monthly recurring revenue coaching, group coaching business. Right, so that's my people. This is the transformation. Now we think of the universe of everything that we lead these people through to get that transformation. So we just start brainstorming and we draw these lines out to brainstorm. So for me, I'm going to just throw out one of the things they got to focus on is their branding, right? And that includes their website. It includes their value proposition. It includes their images of themselves, maybe even some promo video, right? It might be their like demo reel if they're a speaker, right? These are all the universe of things in the branding side. Another thing they're going to have to master is the art of sales. And I have a unique signature system, by the way, for sales, which I call sales as service. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have videos on sales as service that I highly recommend checking out if you want to make your selling easier, more aligned, more joyful, more fun. So another thing they're going to have to look at is their marketing. And I personally like to make the distinction of you got to have things that you're publishing. You want to think about broadcasting like YouTube or podcasts, speaking. These are all marketing strategies, right? So we're just filling in the big category and then we're putting in little categories around the big category. Another thing that people have to do is they've got to design a model, their business model. And when they do that, one of the things that I love to do is to create projections and look at revenues. Oh, another thing they've got to think about is their pricing and also their packages. What are they selling? They might want to think about, since my influencers want to be coaches, they want to think about their ideal audience. And in addition, the ideal audience's problems and that ideal audience's possibilities. What is it that they want? What are they struggling with? And what do they want? So this is just a few examples. Oh, let me do one more. They have mindset issues, right? They've got to address any limiting beliefs and things like that. So that's how you come up with the universe of your signature system, but it's not a signature system yet. It's just a bunch of stuff thrown on a page. Now what we do is we start to organize it. We group things together and we organize it. So for example, let's see. I would put packages and pricing together into their own thing. I would combine those two into one. So I'm going to draw this line between them. Or if I were working on my iPad, I would just erase one and add it up here. Let's see, what else? I would say that their ideal audience is its own thing, but generally this is kind of connected with branding. Usually the first thing you do when you're looking at your branding is your ideal audience. So I could connect these two things together potentially. What else? The business model, well, yeah, so these feel like some good categories. Now you might want to think of, well, what comes first? What are we going to think about first? Well, the first thing is, you know what, I kind of am missing something here. I would say the first thing we need is to look at their vision of what they want for their life, like how do they want to live before they start designing a whole business, right? We want to build around what we want. So I would say starting with vision. And then the next thing I would say is probably we would look at their branding. And inside of that, the first thing we would look at, we would call this 2A, and this would be 2B. So we would do the ideal audience first, then we'd do the branding, then we'd probably look at the business model, the 3, Then we'd probably look at the pricing and packages. What are we selling for how much? Then we'd look here at marketing and then sales, right? Oops, we still got this mindset piece. What's going to go on there? Well, the mindset piece, now that I think about it, is probably something that would roll through everything. So maybe there's a mindset component of each part of my signature system. So once I have all of this, then I might want to organize this into some sort of structure that makes more sense than a blob of circles. So what we would do is, probably on a clean piece of paper, I would find a shape. Now you could use a triangle, you could use a square, you could use a circle, you could use squiggly lines, you can use, there's all sorts of shapes out there. You might even be able to Google shapes for signature models or something like that. But I tend to like, for this type of thing where it's one thing has to come before another, I like to use the triangle. So I would put my signature system, I'd say, all right, the first thing you need to do is you got to have some sort of vision of what you want. And then from that vision, you have clarity. You need to identify, well, you know, who's the audience that you want to serve? From that audience, what is the brand that you're building? Oh, from that brand, you got to find your business model, right? What are you going to sell for how much? Oh, what are the pricing and packages? Then you got to go sell it, and maybe there's some other stuff. Boom. And then that creates the impact in the world. So that's a way to create a signature system. It's just one way. You know, you could have a circle that has pie pieces if it's not hierarchical, if they're equal pieces of some whole. You can use a square if you have like a grid structure. Like, for example, there's one category here, one category here, one category here and here. You could have a journey with like points on a path, right? So there's lots of different ways to organize it. You can get really creative with it. I've seen all sorts of beautiful shapes and models, or you could just really keep it simple, right? Make it just step 1, step 2, step 3. And another thing you could do is you can find an acronym that are the first letters or a letter to represent each part of your signature system. So like SMART goals is an example of an acronym. SMART goals are specific, measurable, and I'm not even going to keep going because I don't remember the rest. But you get the idea. This is how you can create a signature system. You start with a mind map, and then you move into organizing it into some sort of shape. I hope that was helpful for you. And by the way, I do this with people on calls, on Zoom, and also in my retreats. So if you're interested in my help to design your signature system and every other piece of your business, then let's connect. Check out more at superstarbusinessbreakthrough.com. And if you're interested, you can click the button there and set up a time to chat with me about whether or not it's a good fit for you.